Bonjour, Kinamagi and Ireland edition of Casa, and welcome to this production of Support Coach Television. Today's episode, The Magic Moneybag, full text. All right, we're going to begin with our discussion of the purpose for reading. The first read, we're going to focus on asking and answering questions. The second read will focus on comparing and contrasting characters. And the third read will focus on evaluating the story critically. Each of these color-coded reads will correspond to a different section on the worksheet or Google Forms. And we will discuss them as we teach them using the first and second read videos, and then on the third read independently. So without further ado, we're going to read this Korean folk tale, The Magic Moneybag. A long time ago, there was a young woodcutter and his wife who lived in a small hut. They were very poor. Each morning, they walked up the mountain near their hut. They chopped down trees so they could gather firewood. They collected enough to make 2 bundles of firewood, and then they secured the heavy bundles to their backs so they could return home. 1 bundle of firewood was brought inside so they could use it to cook their food and keep the hut warm. They placed the second bundle in the yard and would take it to the market the following day so they could sell it. With the money, they would buy rice so they could eat. The couple never made extra money with which to buy anything fancy, but they were able to buy enough rice each day to keep themselves fed. They never complained about how hard they had to work. One morning, when they woke up, they noticed that the bundle of firewood in the courtyard had mysteriously disappeared. They had no wood to sell at the market to buy rice. Next page. That day, the woodcutter and his wife headed back up the mountain to gather 2 bundles of firewood as usual. They brought the firewood back down to their hut and left 1 bundle in the yard. But the following morning, the bundle from the courtyard was gone again. Similarly, this pattern continued on the 3rd and 4th mornings. By the 5th morning, the woodcutter decided that he must do something, since he and his wife could not continue to live with just 1 bundle of firewood. They had nothing to sell at the market to buy rice. The woodcutter and his wife felt desperate. To find out what might be causing the disappearances, the woodcutter hollowed out a space inside the bundle of firewood in the courtyard and climbed inside, making sure that from the outside, the bundle looked perfectly normal. He waited patiently. In the middle of the night, a large, strong rope came down from the sky, twisted itself around the bundle of firewood, and lifted it, with the woodcutter inside, up to heaven. When the woodcutter arrived in heaven, he saw an old man with white hair. The old man approached the bundle of firewood and untied it. When he saw the woodcutter hidden inside, the old man asked, "Why do you gather 2 bundles of firewood each day? Most people gather only 1." Next page. The woodcutter replied, "My wife and I have no money. We cut 2 bundles of firewood each day so that we can sell 1 at the market and use the money to buy rice so that we may eat. We don't have any money left over after buying rice, but we do not complain." "Ah," said the old man with warmth and understanding in his voice. "I see that you and your wife are hardworking people and are careful with what little money you do have. You take care of yourselves without complaining. Therefore, I would like to offer you a treasure that you can take back to your house and use to help support and sustain yourself and your wife." At that instant, 7 fairies came up to the woodcutter and led him away to a beautiful palace that glowed with gold and sparkling gems. Inside were many precious objects that were beyond anything the woodcutter had ever imagined. One room of the palace was filled entirely with money bags of different shapes and sizes, all filled to the brim. "Which one would you like?" a fairy sweetly asked him. "You are welcome to take whichever you choose." The woodcutter could not believe his good luck. With wide eyes, he carefully studied each bag. At last, the woodcutter's eyes rested on the largest money bag in the room. "I'd like that one, please, the huge swollen one over there. That one seems stuffed with many wonderful things." At just that moment, the old man entered the room, looked angrily at the woodcutter, and told him that he could not have that particular bag. "You can have this empty one," he said. "Each evening you can reach in, and one silver coin will appear for you to take out. One coin, and no more." The woodcutter agreed to take the empty bag, not sure whether to believe the old man's words as he looked longingly at the enormous overstuffed one. Then he took hold of the rope and was lowered back to his house. The woodcutter's wife was thrilled when she heard what had happened on her husband's adventure. They would no longer have to worry about making enough money to buy rice. Each day, the woodcutter and his wife would rise as usual, walk up the mountain, collect the firewood for their hut, and return home at dark. Once home, however, they would reach into their money bag. One beautiful silver coin would come rolling out. Each evening was exactly the same. One coin would come rolling out. No more, no less. The woodcutter's wife carefully collected the silver coins. One evening, the husband looked at the pile of coins they had saved. "We should buy an ox," he suggested, but his wife did not agree. "We should buy a larger plot of land." The woodcutter suggested a few later, but again, his wife did not agree. She thought they should save some money in case they needed it someday. A few days later, she made a suggestion. "Why don't we build a modest cottage? That would be nice." "We have so much money," exclaimed the woodcutter. "Why would we build a small cottage when we can build a large brick house? That would be so much better." Although his wife did not agree, the woodcutter started spending the money on everything they would need for their new house. They became so busy with building their house that neither of them climbed the mountain anymore to collect firewood. After a time, the pile of silver was almost gone, and the house was still not ready. One coin per evening was just not enough, so the husband decided to try to make more coins. Without his wife knowing, he opened the money bag for a second time one evening, and to his pleasant surprise, a second silver coin rolled out. When he opened it a third time, and a third coin rolled out. The woodcutter smiled and congratulated himself on solving their problem. The house could be finished quickly now that they had more money. But when he opened it a fourth time, no money came out. The woodcutter had not obeyed the old man's warning. Disappointed, he turned around to see that his nearly complete brick house had disappeared as well. There was nothing left to do. Knowing they could no longer depend on the magic money bag, the woodcutter and his wife went back to the mountains to cut 2 bundles of firewood each day, resuming their hardworking life. You have reached the conclusion of the full text reading of the Magic Money Bag. You should now return to the Google Classroom and complete which task is listed next. I hope you all have a mental Gizigad. Bum up.